A man claims he has the right to live in a home he doesn't own. A black family's dream home is threatened, and in Judge Caprio's courtroom, a confrontation unlike any other is about to unfold. What will justice look like today? The Wilsons have worked for years to save enough to buy their first house, a modest two-story in a quiet Rhode Island neighborhood. Every corner holds memories, from painting the nursery to planting flowers in the backyard. Their joy is palpable, but it's fragile. One knock on the door, one claim from a stranger, and everything could unravel. Today, that knock comes in the form of Marcus Hill, a man insisting he has the right to live there despite having never paid a dime, never signed a contract, and never shown respect for the family's life. Marcus Hill walks into Judge Frank Caprio's courtroom with a swagger that suggests he belongs anywhere except here. Mid-30s, hoodie stained with sweat, worn jeans, a backpack slung over one shoulder, eyes scanning the room as if daring anyone to challenge him. He plants himself directly in front of the Wilsons, crossing his arms, lips curling into a smirk. "Judge," Marcus begins, voice loud enough to echo against the walls, "I've been living there for months. That house is mine." Mrs. Wilson grips her husband's hand tightly, her knuckles white. "Months?" she whispers, voice shaking. "He hasn't even paid rent once." Marcus doesn't answer. Instead, he pulls out a crumpled stack of papers and shoves them toward the bench. "Look at this. I have rights." Judge Caprio leans forward, voice calm but firm. "Sir, living somewhere does not automatically give you ownership. That's why we're here." The courtroom falls silent. The tension is so thick it could be cut with a knife. Marcus's smirk fades for just a moment, replaced by the faint twitch of impatience. "You don't understand. I have reasons." The Wilsons exchange glances. They've faced challenges before, bills, layoffs, health scares, but never anything like this. Never a stranger claiming their home as his own. "Reasons?" Judge Caprio repeats. "Then explain them." Marcus leans back, taking a deep breath. "I was homeless. I had nowhere else to go. The house was empty, I thought." A sharp intake of breath echoes from Mrs. Wilson. "Empty? We've been living here. That's our home." The courtroom murmurs rise, whispers bouncing off the high ceilings. Marcus raises a hand, attempting to silence them. "I know, but I needed somewhere safe." "Needed somewhere safe?" Judge Caprio asks, voice rising with intensity. "And your solution was to take someone else's home?" Marcus opens his mouth to respond, but the judge cuts him off. "Let's look at the facts. Let's hear the truth, without excuses." Marcus shifts uncomfortably. His confident facade begins to crack. The Wilsons hold their breath, waiting. Everyone in the courtroom senses that the first chapter of this battle has ended, but the real story is just beginning. But what happened next left the entire courtroom speechless. Judge Caprio adjusts his glasses and gestures toward the clerk. "Bring the documents forward." Marcus Hill shuffles papers nervously, flattening crumpled receipts and old forms as if they might magically prove his claim. He points at a faded eviction notice from another address. "See this? It shows I've been trying to get legal housing. That counts for something." The Wilsons shake their heads. "That's from a completely different place," Mr. Wilson says quietly, voice tight with anger. "It has nothing to do with our house." Judge Caprio leans back, voice steady. "Sir, trying to prove hardship does not give you ownership of someone else's property, but the court will review your documents fairly." "Let's move forward." Marcus clears his throat and pulls out a small envelope. "I also have video evidence. It shows the house was empty when I moved in. No one stopped me. That proves..." He falters, realizing that proof alone does not justify taking another family's home. A neighbor is called to testify. She recounts seeing Marcus enter the house late at night, dragging boxes in, never introducing himself. "I thought he was a friend of the Wilsons," she says, shaking her head. But he wasn't. He didn't belong there. Judge Caprio's voice cuts through the tension. "So, your evidence shows he was present, but it doesn't show he has rights to occupy the property." Marcus's face flushes. His voice rises. "I stayed there because it was open. I thought it was abandoned. Isn't that something people are allowed to do?" Rhetorical question number 1. Is taking what doesn't belong to you ever really allowed? The Wilsons exchange another glance, trying to calm their rising panic. Their dream home, the place they'd sacrificed so much for, is being challenged by a stranger who refuses to acknowledge boundaries. The courtroom grows tense as Judge Caprio reviews the documentation and testimony. He addresses Marcus directly. You may have been in need, but need does not erase the rights of others. You may have been hungry, but that does not justify stealing someone else's bread. Marcus's hands tremble slightly. His words stumble. I just wanted a place to stay. I didn't mean any harm. I thought... Judge Caprio interrupts, voice resonating with authority. Thought is not law. Actions have consequences. The neighbor adds one more detail. Marcus had reportedly threatened to call the police if anyone tried to enter the house while he was there. He acted like it was his. She says. The Wilsons' attorney steps forward, voice calm but precise. Your Honor, the evidence clearly shows Mr. Hill occupied the property without consent, without rent, and with no legal claim. The Wilsons' rights have been violated, and they've suffered emotional distress. Marcus looks down at the floor. The courtroom falls into a hushed silence. His confidence is waning. Every argument he had prepared now feels hollow. The weight of the law presses down, reminding him that intentions do not outweigh legality. As the chapter closes, Judge Caprio's gaze lingers on Marcus. Tomorrow, he says, we will hear more from both sides. But for now, think carefully about the choices that brought you here. Just when Marcus thought he might still sway the court, a piece of evidence emerges that no one expected. The courtroom is quiet. Mrs. Wilson rises slowly, voice trembling but clear. Your Honor, this house isn't just bricks and wood. It's where my children learned to walk, where we celebrated birthdays, where we cried when my mother passed. It's our life. Her words hang in the air. Even Marcus shifts slightly, as if realizing for the first time the human cost of his actions. But instead of apologizing, he straightens his back, chest puffed, voice louder than before. I don't care about that. I had nowhere to go. I've been surviving out there, sleeping on streets, facing danger every day. I deserve this house as much as anyone. Rhetorical question number 2. Does suffering give someone the right to take what's not theirs? The Wilsons' attorney steps forward again. Your Honor, this isn't about hardship. This is about boundaries, about respect, about following the law. The emotional trauma inflicted on this family cannot be understated. Mrs. Wilson takes a deep breath, eyes glistening. I can't explain how it feels to see someone treat your home as theirs. My children are scared. They cry. They ask why someone wants to take what we worked for. That's something no court document can measure, but it matters. Marcus interrupts, voice shaking now but defensive. I've been through worse. I don't owe anyone an explanation. I'm only asking for a chance. Judge Caprio leans forward, hands resting on the bench. Chance doesn't mean entitlement. You can ask, you can plead, you can seek help, but you cannot take what belongs to another. That is the law, and it protects those who follow it. The room is tense, every word reverberating. Marcus's defenses start to crumble. He fidgets with the strap of his backpack, eyes darting toward the Wilson children, who sit silently, gripping their mother's hands. The sight hits him in a way nothing else has. Hit that subscribe button if you've ever felt your home was your sanctuary. The narrator intones, voice heavy with emotion. Because this story isn't just about a house. It's about family, security, and the line between survival and respect. Marcus swallows hard. I just wanted a place to sleep. I didn't think it would hurt anyone this badly. Judge Caprio nods slowly. And that, sir, is why we are here. To balance compassion with justice. To recognize human need, but also to enforce the rights of those who have followed the law. The Wilsons glance at each other, holding in relief and tears alike. The courtroom is silent except for the soft, labored breaths of a man realizing the consequences of his choices. Just as it seems the emotional storm is peaking, Judge Caprio reaches into his speech notes, and everyone leans forward. sensing that the most powerful words of the day are about to be spoken. Judge Frank Caprio rises slightly, the courtroom holding its breath. His voice is calm, deliberate, yet carries the weight of decades of wisdom. Today we are faced not with a question of hate, not with a question of malice, but with a question of responsibility. Marcus Hill, your actions have consequences, and those consequences are not just legal, they are human. He pauses, letting the words sink in. This home, this family, they have worked hard, saved every dollar, and built a life worth protecting. Does your struggle erase the effort of others? Does your hardship grant you ownership of what is not yours? Rhetorical question number 3. When we take without consent, who truly suffers? Marcus swallows hard. The smirk is gone. His hoodie feels heavy on his shoulders, the courtroom suddenly larger, colder. Judge Caprio continues, voice rising slightly but never harsh. Compassion does not mean permission. Mercy does not mean entitlement. To help those in need, we must first acknowledge the rights and dignity of others. And in this courtroom, the law and compassion intersect. The law protects the Wilsons. Compassion may guide us to help you rebuild your life. He gestures gently toward the Wilsons. This family has endured fear, anxiety, and the threat of losing their sanctuary. Their patience, their grace under pressure, speaks to the strength of their character. And yet, it is not vengeance that will define today. It is justice. Judge Caprio's gaze meets Marcus's, steady, unwavering. Marcus, your life has been difficult, but difficulty does not excuse wrongdoing. Today you are offered a choice. Accept the consequences, learn from them, and seek a path to rehabilitation. That is the opportunity before you, not the right to take what belongs to another. The courtroom is quiet. Marcus's jaw tightens. The reality of the situation presses down on him like a weight he can no longer ignore. He nods slightly, his voice small but earnest. I understand, Your Honor. I see now that I was wrong. I never meant to hurt them. I did. I know what else to do. Judge Caprio's tone softens, voice carrying hope as well as authority. Then let that understanding guide you. Make amends, seek support, and rebuild your life honestly. That is how you transform misfortune into strength. That is how you respect both yourself and those around you. The Wilsons exhale slowly, relief flooding their features. The tension in the room begins to dissipate. Marcus lowers his head, silent, perhaps reflecting on the first lesson of a new chapter in his life. Just as everyone begins to think the verdict is inevitable, an unexpected gesture from Marcus leaves the courtroom in stunned silence. Marcus Hill stands slowly, looking directly at the Wilsons. For the first time, the arrogance and defiance are gone, replaced by vulnerability. I want to make this right, he says quietly, voice trembling. I know I can't take your home, and I don't want to anymore. I want to fix what I can. Mrs. Wilson wipes her eyes, nodding. It's not easy to forgive, but seeing you admit your mistakes, maybe it's a start. Rhetorical question number 4. Isn't the first step to change simply admitting when you're wrong? Judge Caprio leans forward. Marcus, redemption begins here. True change comes not from words alone, but from actions. I hope you take this lesson to heart. Help others, rebuild your life, and never take what is not yours again. Marcus turns to the court and holds out his hand, not in defiance, but as a gesture of respect. I'll leave the house today. I promise I won't come back without permission. And I'll find help. I'll start over. The Wilsons nod slowly. The tension melts into a sense of relief, almost disbelief. A courtroom that moments ago was thick with anger and fear now holds a fragile hope. Hit that subscribe button if you believe in second chances. The narrator intones, voice wah. RM, and inspiring. Because today, we've witnessed justice paired with compassion, and a moment that could change someone's life forever. The Wilsons step forward, shaking Marcus's hand cautiously, offering forgiveness without erasing the lesson. Their children peek out from behind their mother, small faces bright with curiosity and relief. Marcus smiles faintly, a real human smile this time, not smug, Not entitled, but genuine. Judge Caprio's final words resonate through the room. Remember this, everyone. The law exists to protect. Compassion exists to teach. When they meet in the middle, miracles can happen. The courtroom exhales collectively. Marcus walks out with the Wilsons' blessing to rebuild his life, while the family finally breathes freely. The story spreads, shared online, inspiring thousands. People comment about justice, humanity, and the courage it takes to admit wrongdoing. And as the doors close, a single voice whispers to the court reporter, This is going to go viral. This story reminds us that even in the most challenging situations, compassion and accountability can coexist. The Wilsons held on to their home, Marcus faced his mistakes, and Judge Caprio reminded everyone of the power of wisdom paired with empathy. Drop a comment below if you've ever faced a moment where forgiveness felt impossible. Like this video if you believe in second chances. Hit that subscribe button, ring the bell, and share this story so others can witness the miracle of redemption. Today's courtroom wasn't just about law, it was about humanity, and that's a lesson we all can carry forward.